40 below for over a month that year. It was cold. Lots of snow.
What were you heating with?
Oh, of course, just no wood stove. And it was one that you could have a couple of cook pots on. That's what we cooked on, too, all during that cold strip. Dad cut wood out on the creeks all that winter.
And you just huddled in one room?
Well, that's all we could heat. Keep the baby from, of course, Leon wasn't very big, and you had to keep them from freezing to death. So that's the way that winter was spent. Then the
And your father is still down at Harper, right?
Yeah. He lived there a good many years, way up until after Charlotte was born. He stayed there. He spent some time with my sister down in Oklahoma, a little bit, not much. But he operated that place all those years, all by himself. He spent a little time with us after we went to Idaho, but not a whole lot.
He still had just the 80 that belonged to your mother, having lost the other 80.
And he owned that until, I think the kids sold it after he was gone.
Tell me about Frank Jeffery. How was he regarded in the North Branch community?
Real well. I think as far he was on the academy board there, the church school. And I guess he was one of the community, one of the...
Family legend has it that he had a hot temper.
Well, I suppose he did, especially in his younger years. By the time I knew him, he and Montclair didn't like each other. They were on opposite sides of everything they talked about. That was mainly a matter of personality, I suspect. Uncle Ed had one too.
Dad told about his early life, Frank Jeffrey's early life, that he had a stepmother who was a hard-boiled woman. What do you remember about her?
I never knew her.
Hold on one moment.
I never knew her.
Hello. Oh, no, he's still at work. Who's this? Oh, hi, Jesse. No, he's fine. He's still at work. Oh, about an hour. I seem to remember him saying that this old woman was disciplining his brother, if I remember right, and managed to kick that boy in the liver and killed him. Do you remember that story?
Well, the story I remember that he died of a burst appendix, and they think that was the cause of it. That was the story, because this woman, well, they were all gone by the time I knew anything about the Jeffries. Never knew them. They lived up in Nebraska someplace. But she was mean to the boys. Dad Jeffrey, she was one of those horrible stepmothers that you read about.
You think she did damage to Frank Jeffrey as a young man?
Psychologically, yes.
What do you mean? Tell me about that.
She was, I don't know any other way to describe it the way I remember. She was very, she mistreated him, not necessarily always physically, but mental abuse. I guess you would say.
Did you see any symptoms in Frank Jeffery that you could attribute back to that?
Oh, of course, at the time I didn't think much about it, but it probably marked him for the rest of his life in ways that I wasn't aware of.
Was he regarded as an honest man?
Very much so.
Was he a hard-working man?
Very hard-working man.
Was he looked up to as a community leader, or was he a community follower, or how was he perceived?
Well, in that community, he was just one of the community. He took part in the schools and the church activities. I don't know if you would label him as a leader nor as a follower, particularly. He was one of the community.
Did you get along with him?
Yes, for the most part. I was a very young bride, and I'm sure I did some things that he thought was very thoughtless and reckless. But because their house burned down when Leon was just a baby, and they moved in with us in that little old house, we were too crowded. And I had no experience in housekeeping, so I'm sure he hurt my feelings quite often, but they may have been sticking out a mile, I don't know.
Was he telling you how to keep your house? Telling you what to do?
He criticized me.
What?
He would criticize me after I had done or hadn't done something, and I didn't cook to suit him. Of course, all I knew about was cooking, is what I learned by doing. Because having lost my mother when I did, I probably did a lot of things that he didn't like. Which it wasn't fair to a young bride that then that's the way life was.
Did you stand up to him?
Not much. I was too young. I would just get hurt. And,
what was his relationship during those years with Everett, who would have been married and living separately?
well, they had a good relationship, as far as I know. He had been a very domineering father to Everett, and Everett had been one to rebel. I think he got physically whipped quite often, more than maybe any of the other children did. And I think Everett always resented that. Because he told me one time that he wouldn't give in. He said I'd have died first. He was just that stubborn. But at the time I knew him, I didn't see any evidence of any trouble. And they lived fairly close, and of course all of our lives were pretty well tied together as a family. They were a close-knit family from day one, as far as I can tell. Probably largely due to the training that the Nichols had given Dad's mother. They were a large family, close-knit, and had a large influence on everybody they touched.
Of course, you never knew her, did you?
No.
How much help and normal interchange did you have with people like Lewis and Esther and Alice McNichols, Gossard,